Hi everybody, this is lesson 11, ratios of fractions and their unit rates. In order to go through this lesson, I'm going to ask that you have your calculator out. If you don't have yours, what I need is for you to kind of figure out how to put fractions in on the calculator you are using. This is going to be a lot easier and a lot smoother if you know how to enter in fractions. So before we start, go ahead and take your calculator. You can always write down your essential question now or later if you pause it. This is the button I want you to pay extra special attention to. It says A and then it says B/C. If you can right now just type into your calculator this fraction 2, so to do 2 1/4 you type in 2, then push that ABC button, and what you should see on your calculator is sort of like a little backwards L, and then type in 1, and then push that fraction button one more time. So now your calculator should look like this. And then type in 4. Okay, if you do that, that's actually translated as 2 1/4. So then once I have that in my calculator, I can multiply that by something, I can divide that by something. The reason I need you to do that is because when I go through these problems, I'm going to say, okay, everyone, it's 2 1/4 plus, 3 3/5 or whatever it is. So you're going to have to know how to type that in. If you have this in your calculator and you hit enter, you'll see this. You'll see 2, and then it kind of looks like a U, and then 1/4. That's what it means. It means 2 and 1/4. It's like a mixed number. Okay, so that's just a way to see that you typed that correctly. All right, let's go ahead and get started with the lesson. During the last workout, Izzy ran 2 1/4 miles in 15 minutes, and her friend Julia ran 3 3/4 miles in 25 minutes. Each girl thought she was the fastest runner. Based on the last run, which girl is correct? Well, we know that unit rates can tell us a lot. They can help us compare. So let's go ahead and find the unit rate for Izzy and Julia. You could divide in either order. If you do miles per minute and miles per minute, you would have to decide, okay, would it be better to run more miles per minute or less miles per minute? Well, it would be more. What if we did minutes divided by miles? Or minutes divided by miles? Do you want it to take more minutes per mile or less minutes per mile? You would want that one to be less minutes per mile. That means that you are running faster. So we could do it either way. I'm going to go ahead and do 2 1/4 miles divided by 15 minutes. And that will give me, for Izzy, that will give me miles per minute. I've said that before, and I'm going to say it one more time. When you divide in that order, that's the order that your unit rate would be, okay, miles per minute. So go ahead and type that in and see what you get. You should have gotten 3/20. So she can go 3/20 of a mile every minute. Okay? If you want to do 3 divided by 20 to see it as a decimal, it would be 0.15. Those are the same thing. Okay, 3 over 20 is the same as 0.15. That's 3 divided by 20. Okay, pause it, and I want you to do Julia's now. Pause it. I really want you to get familiar with the calculator. So you can go ahead and pause and do 3 3/4 divided by 25 minutes. Please pause it now and see what you get. Okay, don't forget to use that ABC button if you're still listening and you didn't try it yet. Okay, if you are ready though, let's see what the answer is. Okay, very interesting. We got the exact same thing. Did you get 3/20 miles per minute? So who was faster? They actually ran at the same speed. Okay, so they actually ran at the same speed. Izzy and Julia ran at the same speed. And let's put in parentheses 0.15 miles per minute during their last workout. Okay, I bet if we had done it the other way, like if we had done minutes divided by miles, we probably would have gotten the same number, again, because they ran the same, it took them the same number of minutes to run 1 mile. Okay, and that's actually 6 2/3. I actually calculated that. So if you wanted to try it, that means that each girl took 6 2/3 minutes to run 1 mile. There's more than one way to do unit rate. Whichever order you divide, that's the order that your labels are. So miles divided by minutes means that your answer is miles per minute. Okay, I actually am going to skip this one. So if you want good news, you can actually write skip for problem or example 2. If you're up for a challenge, you can try it, but I think that I want to move on to something that won't be as confusing for you. So in order to do that, we're going to actually go to exercise 2 for right now. Let's go to exercise 2 for right now. That's on page 46. Okay, we know that Sally is making a painting for which she is mixing red and blue paint. The table below shows the different mixtures being used. What is the unit rate and is it proportional? So you know how to find proportionality. Pause the video right now, and if we call the red paint X, we're going to call the blue paint Y. So you know to find proportionality, we do Y over X. And look, it's even color coordinated for you right now. So blue divided by red, and that will tell it. So pause it and tell me what you get every time. You've got to be using your fraction buttons on your calculator, though, and that will help you see what it is instead of those decimals. I know you don't like those decimals when they go on and on in your calculator. So do 2.5 divided by 1.5, and then 4 divided by 2 2/5. Keep going and see what you get. Then unpause and we'll continue. Ready, set, go. Okay, if you're listening to me, that means you just unpaused it and you're ready to see what you got. Did you get times 1 2/3 for all of them? I hope so, because that is actually the constant multiple. We've been calling it that magic number. And you get 1 2/3 for every single time you divide y by x. So the unit rate and the proportionality are the same. So actually, I want to talk about this one here. Yes, the amounts are proportional because the unit rate is the same for all of the xy pairs. And the unit rate is 1 2/3. But is that from blue to red, red to blue? We did blue divided by red to get 1 2/3. So it means I need 1 2/3 quarts of blue per 1 quart of red. Okay, I'm going to drag it over. If you don't want to rewrite it, you can draw an arrow. But if we did blue divided by red, that means I get 1 2/3 quarts of blue per quart of red. So the unit rate is 1 2/3. Okay, what does that mean in context of this problem? In context of this problem, a lot of kids are like, what does that context word mean? In this scenario, for this scenario, so do you understand what's red and what's blue? Let's talk about this problem. Sally is making a painting for which she is mixing red and blue paint. Maybe you or your parents have ever made like frosting or something where you had to put food dye in. And one time you mixed red and blue and it was really dark purple, and then another time you mixed it and it looked to be a different shade. What Sally's doing here is she's making sure that the ratio of red and blue stays consistent. So whether she makes a small batch of purple paint or whether she makes a bigger batch of purple paint, the ratio is still going to be the same. Okay, I hope that makes sense. So if you put 1.5 quarts in of red, you need 2.5 quarts of blue. And that's proportional to down here where I have 4 quarts of red and 6 2/3 quarts of blue. Okay, so what does the unit rate mean? We kind of wrote it out here. Let's see what we've got. You need 1 2/3 quarts. Oh, that is backwards. I am really sorry. That is not correct. You need 1 2/3 quarts of blue paint to mix with 1 quart of red paint. We have it correct above there. So when you write it in, make sure you write the updated one here. I apologize, it was like that. I did not read it carefully ahead of time. So it's 1 2/3 quarts of blue, because you can see the blue is more than the red. Okay, and we stress that if we do blue divided by red, it should be 1 2/3 per 1 red. Okay, now we're going to jump back up to exercise 1. That one is a little bit trickier. For Anthony's birthday, his mother is making cupcakes for his 12 friends at daycare. Okay, that's 12 friends. Hopefully he gets one too, but let's see right now what's going on with this. The recipe calls for 3 1/3 cups of flour, and it makes 2.5 dozen cupcakes. Well, 2.5 dozen, I mean, that's kind of a lot, right? Like each dozen is 12. So 2.5 dozen, that's more than enough for each one to get a cupcake. The problem is that Anthony's mother only has 1 cup of flour. 1 cup of flour. So is there enough flour for each of his friends to get a cupcake? Well, we kind of have to change the recipe then. And if you've ever been around your parents, let's say they took a recipe, you know, if there's only a couple people eating, they want to like cut a big recipe down. Maybe if they're having a big party, they want to double or triple a recipe. And in this case, Anthony's mother only has 1 cup of flour. Well, if I want to know the number of cupcakes for 1 cup of flour, I should probably do cupcakes divided by flour. So go ahead and write those fractions. 2.5, that's 2.5 dozen, not just 2.5 cupcakes. 2.5 dozen divided by 3 1/3. Pause this, try that on your calculator using that ABC button, or if you have a different calculator, you're going to have to figure out how to do the fractions in there. I can help you in class too if this isn't making sense. So 2.5 divided by 3 1/3. When you enter that, you should get the fraction 3/4. Or you might have gotten 0.75 if your calculator defaulted to the decimal. So that's 3/4 dozen. 3/4 dozen. How many are in a dozen? Hopefully you know that there's 12 in a dozen. So if you've got 3/4 of a dozen, then how many cupcakes do you have? You can set 3/4, I'll work over here so you can see. You can set 3/4 equal to a number out of 12. Pause this and see if you can figure out what that number would be. So how many cupcakes are there? Okay, did you get 9? It's 9 cupcakes because we did 4 times 3 to get 12. So if we do 3 times 3, we get 9. Okay, 9 cupcakes, so no, she does not have enough. Okay? There's another way you could figure it, which is to determine how much flour she would need for all of his friends. We did it this way, though, which is to say that she can only make 3/4 of a dozen, so no, she does not have enough. Okay, and then like I said, we skipped example 2, so that's going to be the end of our video for lesson 11. If you are ready, you can go ahead and do your summary. If not, you know you'll have to do that in class, next class. Okay? See you later.